Hey everyone, Mike here. In my last video, I started off with an apology for not posting videos. I'm going to do that again in this video in case you haven't seen that one. I truly am sorry that I haven't been uploading as much as I wanted to and that, you deserve. So I'm going to say sorry and make some excuses. The excuses were pretty much just feeling crappy. I'll go into why I was feeling crappy. That's the point of this video. But it was the physical side of it. It was the mental side too. I have a pretty stressful job. I have 25 direct reports at work, and so it takes a lot of my mental energy to, bring my full self to work. And more importantly, I got some wild kids, and they need and deserve all the time and energy that I can give to them. And so I've been prioritizing my work life, my family, and just trying in the background, trying to get my head on straight and get physically and mentally back to where I need to be. Over the last, 6-9 months, I've probably made this video at least, this same type of video 2 to 3 times, and then a week goes by, I'm editing it, and then whether it be a physical relapse or just a mental lack of motivation, my training tanks, physically I feel crappy, mentally I feel crappy, and it just, I don't want to make a video and then put it out and then, oh, Mike's gone for another 6 months. And so I've made some changes, I've done some things now that I believe will lead me to a great path of success. But in order to understand where I'm at, what that path of success looks like, I need to do a brief overview of what's been happening in the last year, because I've been to races, I've been, out and about, and people are like, hey, what happened? We hear you were sick, we hear you weren't feeling good. What was that all about? And I've kind of told the story to individual people a few times, but I feel like I owe it to everyone out there to kind of tell my story over the last year. Maybe you're going through the same thing. Maybe you're going through something. Maybe you want to see that there is light at the end of the tunnel, or maybe you're just interested in my boring life. So that's what I'm bringing to you. So let's get into it. So the easiest way to talk about this is to go into the timeline over the last pretty much year. It was about a year ago that I completed the Lollipop 240, an amazing accomplishment. It was one of the craziest things I've ever done, and it took me a long time to really fully accept it. And part of that was because I got done with that effort, with that FKT, and I was just trashed, man. I was feeling terrible. I should have taken time off. I should have taken a long break, but I had Cruel Jewel coming up in 2 months afterwards. And so I said, you know what? I've toughed out a lot of things. I'm going to push through this training. I'm going to train and heal at the same time. And that was pretty much a mistake, because I went into Cruel Jewel, DNF'd that at about mile 65, 70. And I will say right now, the last 5 to 10 miles of Cruel Jewel to that last aid station, that was by far the hardest thing I've ever done. I thought 2 months prior, completing Lollipop 240, that final 4 miles, I thought I was going to die. Like, I physically thought that something was wrong. I didn't suspect that 2 months later I would be feeling even worse. And, physically it was a toll, but mentally going through that much pain and, dare I say anguish, that, that kind of takes it out of you too. But, minus the mental side, the physical toll that Lollipop 240 and that almost Cruel Jewel 100 did to me, that really tore my immune system apart. I was in a bad place physically. Mentally, I was still, a little beaten up, but hey, you know what? I got immolation at the end of July. That was my big race. It was May. I got May, June, July to train for this thing. And so I went right back to training. And I started making some training vlogs about immolation, and I was really forcing a smile. I didn't post a lot of this stuff because I ended up not running that race due to reasons I'll get into. But those last few videos were getting very, personal and dark. I don't see a good place to put that footage, so I'm not going to post it, but I was going through some shit. But the reason I didn't run immolation was because I got COVID about 2 weeks prior to the race. I said, COVID sucks. I've had it before. I'll be good in like 3-4 days. Nuh-uh. It was 11 days that I missed work, severely ill. I'm not sure if I had the flu or if my immune system was just so shot, but it took me 11 days, and the race was, 14 days away from when the time I got COVID. So I pretty much had 3 days to recover. And in those 3 days, there was no recovery. Like I showed up to film that race, made a great video. I love that video, but I showed up and I shouldn't have been out there. It was too hot. I spent all day and all night filming, and that didn't do me any favors either. Now, here's where the real nail in the coffin was. The Lollipop 240, Cruel Jewel, and then trying to push my body for immolation, then getting COVID. the COVID was the final nail in the coffin. Something was wrong. I knew something was wrong immediately. After a month after I got COVID, I was still feeling dreadful. I would go for runs. I would try to go for runs. My limbs felt like they were full of lead. I couldn't breathe. I had the craziest fatigue, like at all hours of the day, no matter how much sleep, no matter what I ate. I was constantly tired. And I was always a naysayer. I didn't think long COVID was a real thing. I thought it was just people get sick, they're out of shape, it's hard getting back into it. I've changed my mind now. I don't know about everybody. I don't know about every case. I'm not a doctor by any means, but what I had could be classified as that. It was just relentless, nonstop, could not get better. And this sort of led me down a path of what I'm eating, what my diet is. Is there something I can do to heal myself? I did tons of research. I read articles, I read forum posts, anecdotes, and I came across something, and it was a histamine intolerance. I guess some people after, getting sick, they form a histamine intolerance. Your gut bacteria gets all messed up, for the scientific term. Over months and months of trying out different foods, seeing what worked, seeing what didn't, I started realizing that the list of foods on this giant histamine list of things that are high, low, medium in histamines, when I would eat things low in histamines, I would feel fine. When I ate things high in histamines, I would feel dreadful. For breakfast, I tried a keto diet, I tried a carnivore diet, and that helped sometimes, and it didn't help other times. And I could not understand why fasting and eating certain red meats, certain animal products worked, and then I would eat certain different things and it didn't work. And it turns out that, things like eggs, bacon, sausage, a lot of sharp cheeses, those are high in histamines. And so for breakfast, a traditional breakfast, load up on eggs, load up on bacon, that's carnivore. And I would feel crappy the whole day. And so I said, okay, the carnivore specific things not working. I'm going to do a low histamine diet, potatoes. You can see the whole list online. I'm not going to go into it, but the point is I switched up my diet and I started seeing improvements. I felt amazing. It was good for a while. It was really good. That's the first time I tried to make this video, was when I was feeling good. But then I'd get into training too quickly. My body wasn't ready for it. I'd relapse physically. I felt like crap, feeling like crap. I was depressed. I started eating those high histamine foods. I started drinking. Alcohol's terrible when you're on that kind of diet, or when you have a histamine intolerance. And so it was a constant battle of I'm motivated, I'm feeling good, and then boom, I screwed up something. I feel crappy today. I feel crappy for 2 days in a row. Whatever, screw it. This sucks. I'm too stressed out. I'll figure this out later. And that was pretty. I don't want to say it was a really dark place in my life, but I was just not having a good time in life. I was just feeling very down. The remainder of 2024 was pretty uneventful. I had a few decent races. I did the last of the Falaskins. That's a backyard ultra. Got 66 miles. Hamstrings kind of gave out, and I was like, my training wasn't there, but 66 miles is still pretty damn good. And then I did a Peace River 50K. I tried to do that on a low carb diet. I actually tried to run that one fasted. Terrible. I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I was trying to screw myself, but finished that one. Nothing special. But holidays rolled around and I started drinking more. I started eating crappy. I gained weight. I really wanted to do Just Survive 125. Had to drop out of that one completely just because physically I wasn't there. I'm going to reiterate, there were just constant relapses. It was the alcohol. It was the poor diet. It was also constantly getting sick. My immune system was shot. And so anytime the kids had the sniffles, that would put me out for a week. Anytime that someone in the office, had a cold, had a fever, I was like, oh, here it comes. And 2-3 days later, I would be sick, missing work. And so it wasn't always my behavior that was beating me down. It was the external factors. And, you can't control that. You can't control getting sick. You can't control having kids bringing home, the cold. So that was really, real tough mentally. So every time I felt motivated, I was like, I'm on the right track. Something like that would happen. And then boom, right back to square zero. Now that brings me to 2025, the first 4 months of this year. A little bit of the same. I've been really getting into my photography. I started my photography business, and I decided that I'm just going to do things that I love doing. If I can't get out and run, I'm going to be part of it somehow. I'm going to bring my camera. If I DNF a race, I'll just fuck it. I'll take pictures. And I've been doing that, and I've really been enjoying that. But I keep getting the questions, which, you know, why I'm making this video of, hey, when are you running? What's going on? And it's real hard for me to explain, you know, all the ins and outs, all the details. I've been really focusing on things that make me happy. Now, a few weeks ago, I tried to run Hungryland, and that didn't go according to plan at all. My pacing was off. My nutrition could have been a little better, but I hit 28 miles, my hamstrings, my knees, everything was kind of shot. I just wasn't feeling good. And then, you know, that's not surprising. I'd only run maybe, you know, no more than 10 miles a week for the last 2 months. And so it was kind of foolish to think I was going to go out there and hit 100. I could have done way better than 28 miles, but again, it wasn't my race. But being out there, seeing the amazing runners, seeing what I could do, I don't know, something about Mikey B's races just get me fired up. And so after that race, I decided, okay, I'm making major changes. I can't expect major results without major changes. And I kind of want to go into the major changes that I'm making and my path forward for the last little part of this video. The first major change, this is controversial. I have a video that's coming up that's going to explain more about this, is that I'm on the carnivore diet, or I'm going to call it an animal-based diet, because carnivore, it's kind of mainstream. It's a fad word. It's really animal-based. And again, I'll go into this in my next video, but the point of it is to do a full body reset, to cut out the junk I've been eating, the alcohol, the sugars, the processed foods. I'm someone that cheats on every single diet. I convince myself that ice cream is good because it has calories. I just ran, eat some ice cream. And these type of foods still, they're not good for you, but for me, I believe that they do cause additional inflammation. I still think I'm getting over whatever I had last year, but being on a very restrictive diet, a very clean diet, that has made a world of difference. The next thing I'm doing is just consistent training, being consistent. I've gotten back into yoga for my mobility. I've gotten back into weight training. That's how before I started running, I was strong as an ox, and I still got some of that strength, but I want to go back to my base foundation, which is that yoga and strength training. And then finally, of course, consistent running, making sure that I get either a run every day, or if I have, just the miles per week, time on feet. It has made a world of difference in these last 3 weeks, and I'm just so excited to get back into it. Now, what I just mentioned is that it's only been 3 weeks. 3 weeks isn't much, but honestly, 3 weeks is more time feeling as good and motivated as I have felt in the last 12 months. I haven't gone more than, a week and a half feeling motivated and good before something bad happened, diet, sickness, whatever. It's been 3 weeks, and I'm just so excited. I have been going on runs, and I've had an 8-mile run scheduled. I hit 8 miles and I go, let's make it a 12. You have the energy. I've actually been doing a lot more run walks and slowing myself down. I found myself wanting to just speed and go faster. Previously I would have a few really strong runs in a row, push it, I'm feeling good, and that would just tank my body. I feel like crap. And so I've been consciously having to slow myself down because I want to go faster. And the final thing is that I have absolutely no temptations. The feeling of being healthy and motivated and just wanting to keep going, that trumps any craving that I've had for sweet junk food. I want to be better. I'm feeling better. And so when someone at work, has, donuts or cake, I have zero temptation. I'm like, I know what I got to eat to make myself feel good. And I am feeling good. So that's kind of my whole story. It's just been a year of constant downs, a few little ups, but then mostly just downs. I didn't really talk about the mental side of it that much, but that was a big hit over the last year. I can't do the things that I love. I've been spending time with my family. I've been focusing on work, but there's that part of me that needs to go out and do these incredible things, and I haven't been able to be that person. And so there's been a lot of feeling down, but I don't know. I just want to focus on consistency, get back to doing crazy things. But I do know that it's going to take 6 months to a year to get back to where I was easily. I have some pretty crazy stuff planned, but I have a 2026 plan. My 2025 plan is essentially go out, have fun, and enjoy yourself. 2026 is a whole different story. I'm going to have some really crazy shit, but I think it's going to be worth it. I think allowing myself the remainder of this year to build up my strength, build up my fitness, not to go out and do something crazy and tank myself. I think 2026 is you're gonna see some incredible stuff out of me and some incredible videos. I'm not gonna go too into it, but I got another Lollipop 240 unsupported planned. I was gonna do it this year. I said, you know what? If you're gonna go out and do this thing, do it right. Get the training, get the rucking. Go out and do training runs. A training run I'm gonna do is pretty much of a lake to ocean, 60-mile, pretty much ruck with all the stuff I'm gonna be carrying. I also want to do a Just Survive 125, a completely unsupported, as a training run for Lollipop 240 unsupported. And so that's if you don't know, that's an out and back on the Lake to Ocean Trail, 125 miles, filtering water, packing all my own food. It's a pretty tough trail at certain times of the year. So yeah, that's kind of the thing that's on my mind in the forefront. But there's a lot of pretty crazy races next year that I wanna hammer out. So with that, I just want to, thank you guys for watching. Next time you see me, hopefully, I don't get as many questions about what the hell you've been up to. Hopefully I won't get those questions, not only because people have watched this video and talked about it, but also because I'll be going out there, putting on some pretty good performances. I have a Funist 50K a week from now. Probably by the time this video is posted, I'll be running it. And that one, 50K, going out there, having fun, testing out this new diet. And then in July, I have Immolation again. That's my redemption race. I really plan on doing pretty well at that race. Will I win it? Matt Clapper is going to be out there, so I'm not counting on a win, but I definitely want to go out there and put down some impressive times and do some amazing stuff. So with that, I'll let you guys go. Thank you for watching. I'm going to go out there and do something amazing. You better too, because if I can get motivated after all the shit I've been through, yeah, you definitely can too. Thank you guys.